Hello, hello. Possibly some not so quick news today just because there is a lot to cover. It has been a busy week and a half or so, what with Gamma and the lead up to that, and some big events coming up and some talk about OP and so on and so forth. So I got a bunch to cover. I gave it an extra day after the Gamma news to see if there was any, follow-up or clarifications on certain things. Didn't really get anything today, so we'll just go with what we got. So, to start off, just want to go over the major regional updates again. Right, they wound up essentially backtracking on most of the stuff they announced a few weeks back in terms of the major regional format changes, and some stuff that was a little dated back further than that after just a lot of blowback about the way they wanted to do this mixed format draft and constructed stuff. So yeah, we will be going back to 60-minute rounds from 50-minute rounds. That apparently was a change they were mostly just doing in the interest of time, so they are getting rid of the mixed format setup, so now that they don't have to fit a draft into their event, they can go back to 60-minute rounds. They're also going to do a maximum of 7 Swiss rounds on day 1, which is really interesting. Given how concerned they seemed to be about time, they're opening the door for a potentially very long day 2. But most events, it'll be like 7 rounds day run, maybe 1 round of day 2, and then a top 16 if it's in that 150 to 250 player range, which you'd have to ballpark guess most of these major regionals will be. I mean, we'll see. We don't really know what the impact of going down to just the 3 major regionals over the course of the year is going to be. But in any event, there will be no more than 7 Swiss rounds on day 1, and then day 2 will take however long it takes. Top cuts will still be timed, so each individual round of top cuts probably can't take much more than 2 hours. If you remember, the way they're going to do it is you're going to have 90 minutes, and if you're not on game 3 by 90 minutes, the match will just end middle of game 2. But if you are on game 3, you're still going to get a few extra turns, which, could take 15-20 minutes or whatever, so figure any given round of top cuts might take up to 2 hours, so if it's top 16, that could be, and the finals itself is untimed, so it could be like an 8.5 hour top 16 kind of thing, plus however many rounds of Swiss they still have to figure out. So I guess they've worked out with their venues that they'll be able to stay pretty late on Sunday if they need to, so they just want to make sure that they get out on time on day 1, I guess. Other than that, the other thing that they've added, so because there's no more mixed format, but because they still want people to draft, they are going to be giving people side event discount tickets, so that after you're done, however many rounds you decide to play in the day 1 Swiss, you can play. You're encouraged a little bit more with this discount coupon to play in some sort of side event, and it sounds like it's not just. They said discounted or free, which I guess means it'll be free if it's a certain level of side event, but discounted if it's like draft or something. You need to buy a bunch of packs, right? So there's some language about finishing day 1, and some people think that might mean you have to finish Swiss or not. That's technically not specified, but I imagine that's just when you personally decide you are done on day 1, is another way you could read that. So technically that's not specified, but either way, presumably most people will be able to get this coupon and play in some Sunday side events if they don't make top cuts. We still don't know anything about major regional prizing outside of the champ points. We don't know anything about participation. We don't know anything about side event prizing. We don't know anything about what the side events are. They are, once again, promising they want to have great, awesome side events, which have been up and down over the course of the year. Last year, some events had really nice side events, some events did not. So we'll see. We also do not know anything about prizing for this upcoming webcam regional, if there is any prizing besides points. That's coming a lot sooner, although granted, people need advance notice for the major regionals to make travel plans and whatnot. So hopefully we get all that information soon, because there's not a lot of time to get that out there. But moving on from the major regional stuff, there's a bunch of stuff that's coming really, really near term. So first and foremost, on Friday, those promos, the alt art promos from the Cowboy Bebop Trigun Challenger launch event thing, where they wanted you to play one of the new characters, those promos should be going live on the Redemption Shop on Friday. I believe it was noon specific. There's a certain time, which, I wonder if they're worried about them selling out, but it also go up Friday. I'll put a link to the Redemption page in the description. There's going to be a huge pile of links in this particular description, so just find it in there. Also, the Wish event qualification, you know, the release tournaments for the Dark Tournament set are done, so they have gotten people emails if you are invited to the Wish Tournament, and you should be added to the event. In the UGN, you should just see that under My Events in the UGN. If you feel like you should have an invite and you don't, go make a ticket on the Discord. Most of these are like the tournament organizer didn't close the event or something like that, or they just need to it's the wrong event type or something, they need to pull some strings on their end, but they can get that sorted out. A lot of people have submitted a ticket and gotten their thing fixed, so don't worry too much, just go ahead and put a ticket in. There was a very weird article from Bill Stark yesterday, as of time of recording, that put into question what exactly the prize of this Wish tournament is. So up till now, they have been representing the Wish, quote-unquote, the Wish 2, the second option, as a basically another champion card, another, you know, design a character of yourself, you'll put it in the game. You can make another card type if you want, but people would probably make a character. They've said that in a few different places in a few different ways, and that was kind of everybody's understanding. But Bill's article kind of made it out to be more of a magic style, like a Dark Confidant type of card. If I'm possibly making an ancient magic reference at this point, but like the Magic Invitational cards they used to do, where it's kind of, maybe it's your likeness, maybe it's not even, right? Maybe you're just designing a card. They didn't even say that much, but it has to like fit in the IP and things like that. We don't know what that's about. We don't know if there's some confusion going on, or if it's just, you know, poor choices of examples or something like that, or if they actually want to change it. They haven't really said anything following up. I tried asking Bill kind of directly on X, and he didn't reply, so who knows? Just understand, if you're going to play in that event this weekend, don't snap pick Wish 2 if you win until you find out exactly what's going on with it, because Wish 1, we have gotten some added clarity on. That is the get one of every product for 2024, and that is specifically, that is a booster box of every booster set, so one box of 24 packs. One of every Clash deck, one of every Challenger deck, one of every sleeves, playmats, deck boxes, any kind of accessories they come out with, as well as any non-UVS product that UVS Games produces, which we'll get to in a bit. There's going to be at least a little bit of that. So that's actually looking like a pretty good value, depending on what this Wish 2 winds up being. And of course, the top 4 get a set of chromes for this event. So a lot about the Wish event that's coming up very, very soon. We'll see how that pans out. And don't forget, you do have to play a Yu Yu Hakusho Dark Tournament character. You are allowed to play Botan or Byakko. I would anticipate at least a handful of Byakkos in that field, so be ready to deal 38 damage. And be ready to have your Foundations turn face down. That's going to be a thing. He's going to be around and about. Not like younger Toguro popular, but keep your eye out. The locals promo. So they put out a post showing like the January, February, March locals promos. Stores are kind of behind on getting these. A lot of stores have like just gotten their February promos in, and they're I mean, it is March. But the March promo is an Alt Art Command Pigeon Flock, which is really cool. That is a much more used card than the first 2 promos were, so that one should be pretty hype. Should be getting some people out to their locals to collect those once they show up at stores, whenever that is. And also, technically, we had our ban errata, our monthly ban errata announcement day. Obviously, they weren't going to actually do anything significant because set rotation, new set coming out, no real metadata to work with. But they are errating Fat Gum to close off I guess they would call it a loophole, considering they're closing it, that allowed people to trigger his transformation effect multiple times in a game. They're shutting that down. They have not fixed the rules technicality where he technically doesn't work with a rules update that they did. They just kind of left that in there. That's still going to be a hand wave, I guess, but yeah, we've been running with that so far, so no big deal there, I guess. Also, with Gamma, and just with, always more stuff to sell with the number of releases that they're doing this year, we got all of our Critical Role previews over at The Gamer, which is... It seems like it's just going to get all of the Challenger previews at this point. I mean, we'll see if they do Godzilla or not, if they find someone else to do that, but the Critical Role decks, all of the cards were previewed. Some were previewed on Enhanced, and the rest were covered by that Gamer article. We'll link that in the description, so you can see all of those cards. I believe they're on UVS Ultra now, too. As some part of this, the Critical Role launch event, or the launch window or something, they're going to have this interesting co-op format where you have multiple players fighting against the Briarwoods, which I guess are a pair of villains from Critical Role. And it's a pretty cool setup. There's a rule sheet that's going to come with it that's being sent out to stores. So looking forward to trying that out. That looks like it'll be pretty fun. You know, probably not going to be the most perfectly tuned thing or whatever for their first attempt, but should be cool to try out. Give people who, you know, want to kind of get into the game just with the Critical Role decks, just play with the Critical Role decks. Maybe sort of an easier way to learning experience those people in, because you're playing with other people that can explain to you game mechanics, as opposed to an opponent that's beating you with your lack of knowledge of game mechanics, right? That kind of thing. So we'll see how that goes. I think most players are pretty excited to try that out, at least, even if it's, you know, maybe not going to be a staple of the local weekly scene or anything like that. Also, we have a new organized play director. His name is Josh Massey, I believe. He comes from, they stole him from Star Wars Unlimited, basically. Poached him out. I assume a large bag of money was involved, or just, you know, maybe he's really excited about some of the IPs we have coming up. Before Star Wars, he was working for Pokemon, so, you know, really an experienced organized play guy. Heard some generally good things about him. You know, we'll see what he does, how he does. He's going to have some catching up to do. He's got a lot of players that want to know what their upcoming prizes are for upcoming events. Maybe the first order of business for Josh, if you're listening. Tell us what our prizes are. We don't know what most of the prizes are so far this year. Also, you know, the Girl Power set that is coming out in May. That is the next release after Critical Role, is going to be the Girl Power Booster set. We got sort of a first look article at that. They showed off some characters, some cards. We got to see Luna Arc and a number of other things. We got to see some early alternate art treatments that they're doing, just to sort of kick off the hype for that. You know, I imagine we'll get some kind of enhanced video and, you know, previews as per the usual. That's going to go through the usual schedule, maybe in a few weeks, right? That's still a little ways off. We might get a little bit of a break from the rapid fire news for a couple weeks in the back half of this month before they really kick off Girl Power stuff in earnest, and then that's going to go into Godzilla, then that's going to go into Attack on Titan, and it's going to be pretty busy through the summer, I would think. Speaking of Godzilla, we got some early details on that in an article, kind of a pre-Gamma, part of their Gamma presentation type of article, showing off, you know, a couple of the characters, some of the alternate art, some of the playmats that they're making. So that's pretty hype. They've also announced a couple upcoming IPs. So the sci-fi license that is at the end of this year is going to be a Challenger deck. The last Challenger decks out of the year is going to be Star Trek, specifically Star Trek Lower Decks, an animated spin-off comedy type series from, I believe, from the Rick and Morty people. I'm not a Star Trek guy. I couldn't tell you a whole lot about it other than, you know, my understanding is it's supposedly like a little comedy series about, you know, the people that aren't the upper deck, you know, captains and lieutenants and, you know, the big shots. So they're all sort of the red shirts, as they call them, are sort of just the general no name, you know, no name schmucks that are on these ships. So, you know, check that out if you're interested. You know, if you know Star Trek and you haven't seen that yet, it's probably a pretty good time to watch it at some point this year. They've also put together a collab with Star Realms to do a Star Trek Star Realms release, and this sounds like something that UVS Games will be producing and putting out under their company name, but they're going to use the Star Realms game mechanics and logo and things like that. So pretty nice to see the company moving into some other product lines. And then last thing, we had a second big IP announcement, and that is Tekken 8. Tekken 8 pretty hot right now, just released a few weeks ago. So pretty good time to talk about picking up the Tekken 8 IP. Of course, we won't see any cards or sets for it until presumably at some point 2025. There's not really anywhere in 2024 they could squeeze it in. But maybe that's like the first booster set or the first Challenger Series releases or something of 2025. So expect some Tekken 8 stuff in the kind of distant, but not super distant future, right? Yeah, probably early 2025 kind of thing. Yeah, and they haven't said early 2025, but we can assume that much. Alright, and that is everything I have on this list. A bit of a breakneck, really just a lot of stuff. Don't forget, there's also, you know, so this coming weekend is the Wish Tournament. The weekend after that is the Webcam Regional that we don't know the prizes for yet. But there is a Webcam Regional. It is going to be worth CP champion points. that will go towards not only qualifying for nationals, but also possibly qualifying for worlds. If you do well enough, they are worth half the points of a major in-person regional, because they are on webcam and they want to, you know, make sure that the focus is on the big in-person events. And then a few weeks after that, we're going to get the subsequent, I believe it's 3 weeks in a row, I'd have to check, but throughout the month of April, there's going to be the 3 major regionals, one for each region. The US one in Las Vegas is last, but we're going to have the OCE and the UK major regionals ahead of that, trying to get some kind of a look at the meta before Las Vegas. Is going to be kind of interesting. There's not a whole lot of, you know, partially because a lot of people have been trying to test for this Wish tournament where you have to play Yu Hakusho character. There's really even less of an understanding of this new meta than there is in other new metas, just because even the people that are pre-testing for different events. But, you know, I might do not a tier list shaped video, not like an actual tier list because we're in no position to make a tier list, but maybe something just for new eyeballs to check out. You know, I got that comment on another video, and maybe it wouldn't be the worst to do something in that shape. I'm not quite sure what that will look like yet, but I'll probably do something like that, because why not? Kind of fun just to bring up all the characters and talk about them a little bit and not really remember what some of them do or what some of them have access to, but, you know, we wing it. Yeah. Until next time, you know, have a nice week, have a nice weekend. Good luck in the Wish tournament if you are playing, and I'll see you next time. Take care.